never know when this recording starts or not. Oh, okay, it started. Hey guys, welcome to Whatnot. I'm sorry, not Whatnot. We're not Whatnot. This is YouTube. Welcome to
Another Reselling Podcast.
Yeah, that would be nice. If I didn't mess this one up, it would not be Jack's Treasures, guys. This is Not Another Reselling Podcast on YouTube. This is episode number 73. I have the numbers right. And today we're going to be talking about the other side of reselling, the partners who live with it every day. Okay, and we are talking about the live side of reselling, but we also mix in some of the static side of reselling. And we want to talk generally about reselling, but we generally do focus. We are raw, real, and unedited because I am super lazy, and I'll be damned if I do any editing. Okay, so
our guest today is Jill, also known as Kcerka. She's the better half of reseller Ken, who's at SSKPromo, who you've seen on our show before.
Yeah, he's been on 3 times now.
She herself has also had some Whatnot shows, and I just heard she's selling on Vinted now. Mm-hmm. But she's actually going to talk about being in a relationship with someone who is a reseller and some of the pitfalls and the benefits of that. Please introduce yourself, Jill.
Okay, hey, I'm Jill, widely known as Kcerka. On Vinted, that is not my name because I'm like, I need a new identity from my old identity. So that's me. I am the absolute better half of the SSKPromo. Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. We've actually been outsourcing with Jill and Ken, SSKPromo, and she's the best. Right there.
Yeah. And I think if we took a poll, everybody would vote for me.
Okay, this is a question I've been wanting to hear your answer to this. First, Brian told me that you were coming on our podcast. What is the most random or weird job you've ever had?
The random or weird job that I have ever had. Okay, honestly, okay, here's the thing. I started working when I was 16 years old, and I worked at a fast food restaurant. Okay, so called Rax, which you've probably never heard of before.
And is that a roast beef?
Yeah, you've heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
We actually had them for a short while down here. They went out. Yeah. Went out of business 1 year a long time ago. But
left in Ohio, but yeah, I worked there from when I was 16, and then I was a foreign exchange student after high school, so I was able to go back and work. And then I went to college, and then I came home, and then I went back, got an associate degree, and through that whole time I worked there. So I worked there like forever, and then I quit there, and I started my career, and I worked there for 30 years. And on my 30th, and while I was there, I got a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. And on my 30th anniversary of working there, I turned in my notice and went to work at a drug and alcohol recovery agency as a mental health director, and then started my private practice. So I've had a very long work life, but not a lot of jobs. And so if I were going to tell you jobs, I don't know. I would probably say, what was the word? Now I got myself.
Oh, I got a couple of them that I could mention that I know that you've done.
What? What did I do?
Well, you've worked with the band Feel, helping them out. You're definitely, like, in my opinion, a full-on super groupie with the band Feel. You've gone and sold their shirts at their concerts. Okay.
Yeah,
they also work the prison one.
Yes. She's worked at a prison
where they filmed the movie Shawshank Redemption.
Well, we just
do that too.
Those are volunteer jobs. Well, if we have volunteer jobs, then
volunteer jobs count.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So yes, I love.
Yeah, anything works as a job, legal or illegal. We just don't want to hear about the illegal ones. Okay, at least not when the recording's on.
Yeah. So volunteer jobs, I worked in a homeless ministry, with a homeless ministry in Columbus. I live in Ohio, so Columbus is about an hour from me. So once a week, I could talk about that. We'd be here forever. But once a week, I would make a huge pot of food, and we would pack up and go to Columbus and go through all the woods and underneath and over railroad tracks and go into the homeless camps and take food and hang out with them. And
Tracy could not do that. She has a fear of hobos.
Well, okay, it's
real.
Not the homeless.
I'm scared, not homeless.
I'm scared hobos. Of being like old-fashioned hobos with the things over their backs,
and
they had like the old-fashioned languages that they wrote on the signs and everything.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
Okay, no,
Terrified.
that was
I think that any NCIS episode or one of those crime episodes that had it on there affected her deeply.
It was something I read when I was a kid, and I'm literally terrified of like
okay, I understand
groups
that.
of hobos.
So
Yeah.
when you guys come back to the cabin, don't have a stick with a like bandana tied
No,
at the end of
no.
your crap.
Oh, you know she's going to do it
Yeah.
now.
No,
Oh.
I won't do that. I won't. No, I promise I won't. But I do have EMDR tappers that we can use when you're here and help you through that. So, and then I also was a police chaplain for, gosh, I don't know, for the local.
Oh yeah, we're not going to include police chaplain.
Well, okay,
So-
amazing.
that wasn't a paid job. That was volunteer as well.
See,
I just-
I knew you had some interesting jobs.
I can
just
tell
knew
you
it.
right now, working for Jack's Treasures is not a paid job either because I haven't gotten paid in 10 years.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that I did that from gosh, I don't even remember when I started. That was right after my dad passed away, and I just retired from it this January because my goal this year was to streamline certain things, and so I let go of a lot of volunteer things, and that one was a tough one because I adored that opportunity with the guys and the with the men and the women of that department. But I did that, the homeless ministry. Well,
I'm going to interrupt her for a second right here and just let you all know something. Jill is probably, in my estimation, the most giving and person that volunteers 100% of her time is almost volunteer work. I think she works, has her practice as a hobby more than a need. I think
volunteered
she
there
really
sometimes.
literally would volunteer for just about anything. And it's one of the best qualities that you
She's
could
very
ever
giving.
know about her. She's a wonderful person, obviously, but oh my gosh, a chaplain. I mean, she's
is
got her
amazing.
degrees. Obviously, she is a super, super smart person.
No,
And just an amazing person that volunteers time. So taking that all into heart makes, and this should make everybody that's watching, because I want to tell you, you hear all of this stuff that she volunteers to do. And then you sit back and I sit back and I think, what have I volunteered to do? And Tracy and I
Not
have talked
enough.
about doing like cleanups on the highways, just to help out clean up around our areas. To do, obviously, everybody knows about our Stop Soldier Suicide campaign, where we did our 90 miles in September, and we do our Veterans Day raid train. We donate, but that's not nothing compared to everything that Jill just mentioned in the last 4 minutes. Has inspired me to say, you know what, I need to find to do something. You know, if anything, do it on Thanksgiving, go volunteer, go take some food someplace, because, you know, we're in a good spot, you know, and why not help out some people?
Yes.
And if you guys don't take anything else from this episode, other than you go out and you find some volunteer work to do, let us know about it, because it's an amazing thing to me. To me, that's what one of the things that makes all us as individuals in America such a great country, because of the ability to volunteer. And other countries have that same thing. So, but it's an amazing thing, and I absolutely love that.
See, and I didn't even think about that, because that's nothing. So, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's like, I love that part. If I could volunteer and not have to work, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I would think the same thing from you. Where do you think you get that from? Is your family big into volunteering? And we have met her mom before, by the way. Her mom is amazing.
She is. I don't know. Well, oh yeah. Okay. Here, let me just tell you this. Well, and then I want to talk about, how did I forget? You know, I was a race director for the Bruce A. Waite Miles from Miso 5K for 10 years.
Yes.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, we'll talk about that for a second. I suppose I get a lot of that kind of stuff from my dad. What we found out, you know, my dad was a teacher for 30 years. And while he was teaching, he was exposed to asbestos, and ended up all those years later being diagnosed with mesothelioma, and then passing away. And it was years after that there's a big race in Alton, Illinois, that is put on by the law firm that helped us. And we went and attended that. And then afterwards, I'm like, I think we can do
Okay, go.
see, she did it, didn't she?
Not you, Jill, not you.
Yeah, okay, see ya.
Yeah.
No. But because my dad was a runner, he ran every single day for 33 years, at least 6 miles and sometimes 12. So, and I'm like, we should do a 5K. So we did it for 10 years, and we ended up raising over $100,000 for mesothelioma research. And I didn't know what I was doing when I started, but
That's amazing.
it was amazing. Yeah, that was really good. And I would tell you then, one of the things that we found out after my dad passed away, he would get up in the morning, because I mean, it was a different school system than I was in, but he would go to school really early. And I would say, why do you go to school so early? And he would say, Mom, just getting my classroom prepared. What we found out afterwards, now I'll probably get all choked up, and I found out I would just be in different situations. And if I wore a Bruce Waite 5K shirt, people would go, did you know Mr. Waite? And I'd say, yeah, pretty well. And I found out that he would meet with students before school and work with them. And one guy told me, he's like, he wasn't even my teacher. And I wasn't able to get into a college prep English class for some reason, but your dad met me every single morning. And we went through the entire book, Siddhartha, together. And my dad never told us that. He never told me that. He never told Mom that. But he volunteered and worked with kids. And he had, at that point, he was a senior English teacher. But he did that. But he never announced it. He never came home and went, "Whoa, I went in early today and worked with all these kids." Never mentioned it. Never. So, so I would say I probably got my volunteerism stuff from him, as far as, because I don't really, besides you asking me, I don't run around and say, oh, then I did this, so I can tell you stories for days about the homeless ministry and the things that I learned. And, I think that the volunteerism, I love what I do for a living, right? I love it. But there are things that I've learned in the times that I've had with people, because that's the bottom line for me, is people, right? So it's not like you say, okay, so I did the chaplain work, I did the homeless work. There's 11 years that I was that I had a best friend who is, if you can see him, he's like right there above my head. And the things that I learned from trying to, I don't even know how to word this, like keep him alive, but the things I learned from him were greatly out. And the things I learned from working homeless ministry, from the men and women who live on the streets of Columbus, the things I've learned from them greatly outweigh anything I have given to them. So, so that's what I would say about it.
Well, I know that you touched on it a little bit and stuff, but for those of you that don't know, you work in mental health. You have your own private practice, correct?
Right.
Okay. So for any of you that do know, and if you guys ever need anything, you all know that I help support Stop Soldier Suicide on both Whatnot, YouTube, everywhere that we go. We try to promote that, because 22 soldiers a day commit suicide, and that's an atrociously high number, especially for me. And believe it or not, I have had people reach out to me, and who did I reach out to? I reached out to Jill. Okay.
Well, you handle by yourself very well, though. So.
And I appreciate that and stuff. But if you guys ever need anything, I will have contacts down below for Stop Soldier Suicide and for other mental health crisis places that you can go to, because I'm going to ask Jill to do some homework and send me some of those sites, and I'm going to link those down below so that everybody can also.
I always just say 988 is a good thing to have in the back of your head, because you can text or call them. So if you're ever just in a place and you don't have anything else, that's just something to have in the back of your head. 988.
Yeah. And we'll also try to put in some maybe homeless shelters in certain areas, like Atlanta area, Columbus area, things like that. I'll actually put some links down below for that one too. Okay. So, wow, this one really took the thing. We haven't even started the questions. We haven't even started
the main questions
or the thing, but you know what? I love the way that this went there. And almost literally, I was almost like, shoot, dump the questions. We'll just talk about the mental health part. But you know what? We always have not again, which we could do a deep dive. And we could literally do a deep dive on mental health and reselling. Because I can tell you right now, resellers, we's a bunch of crazy ass motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
You just think outside the box. That's what it is. But you know what? I'm going to also give you a couple links, because even if it's not a crisis situation and you're like feeling like maybe you have some anxiety or depression or whatever it is, and it's not so much mental health. Okay. I am going to just pontificate for a minute. Okay. So
yeah, go for it.
Okay. I think sometimes we have a tendency, if we have anything that goes wrong from here down, we'll run to the doctor, right? Oh,
Right.
I have a sore throat. Oh, my, like my stomach hurts. Oh my gosh, this hurts, right? And we rush right to the doctor. But anything from here up, we're like, I can handle this myself. And if I go to the doctor, if I go get help, that means I'm a weakling or something, right? But if we really look at the body, there's no definitive steel plate that separates our brain from the rest of our body, right? It's all one body. So if we don't deal with the things that are struggles for us with anxiety, depression, trauma, anything like that, it's going to come up other ways, right? We're going to have stomach aches. We're going to have fibromyalgia. We're going to have different things happen in our body because we're not dealing with the anxiety. And if we don't deal with what's going on with our body, it can cause us anxiety and depression. So it's one body. So I'm going to give you a couple links too, because sometimes we just need somebody to talk to. Because I feel like one of the basic needs that humans have is for just somebody to listen to them. Because
exactly.
People come and they're not like, oh, I have all this trauma. Usually, I just need somebody to talk to, like that is going to give me an objective view of something.
I was going to suggest closing the door and getting her out.
That's all right. Rudy was here for a second, but then she went away. But and so I'm going to give you a link to like Psychology Today, because if you get on that website and you put in your zip code, it'll give you a list of mental health providers in your area.
Oh, that's awesome.
To take a step further, and then you can look at them, see if they take your insurance, what they specialize in. You can get a handle on that kind of thing. And then one other thing, because I am certified in EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And that's a type of therapy that works with PTSD, childhood trauma, complex trauma, whatever it is you want to call it, like one occurrence trauma. And it uses bilateral stimulation of the brain to let your own brain process it. And we're not going to get into that because we'll be here. It'll be midnight and we'll still be talking. So because I'm so passionate about that. So I will also send you the EMDRIA, which is the EMDR International Association. Also, you can go on there, because that is it's a shorter therapy, and you don't have to talk about it so much. You do have to work up like a little template to work from. But whether the person has tappers or the light bar or whatever it is, that's done without a lot of talking. So it's allowing your brain to process it. So, and I'll give you the link for EMDRIA as well, so people can think about that. Like, because a lot of the depression, anxiety can sometimes be caused by traumas that we have not processed. So, okay, I'm done.
There's a lot of that. Okay. Well, that was great. And we are going to have links down below to all of that stuff. And, all of it is super, 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 super important.
Well, this is our Real Talk Q&A, where we talk about reselling. And we're going to ask Jill the hard questions.
The tough questions.
First, when Kent first told you he was going to become a full-time reseller, what was your honest first reaction?
Okay. My very honest first reaction was I ran to my closet, and at that time, I had a running shoe addiction. So I had but I had switched brands. Okay. And so I had all these brand new shoes that I'd never worn because they were pretty. Or maybe I wore them once, and I got them completely all organized, and I handed them to him and I said, start selling. Right. So he had a whole bunch of size 9 Asics running shoes. Here you go. Because I 100% supported it. Yeah. And because we have a couple friends who were resellers before Ken was. My old work husband was a reseller. He and his wife had resold kids bedding for years. It was more of a go to the Kmarts when they were closing and buy bedding and stuff and then sell it. And they were making tons of money doing it. And then we have our really good friend, Doug, who also is a reseller, actually closed his chiropractic practice to do this. And so, Ken met with them and then started. So I was and am 100% on board with him. So.
Oh, awesome.
And in your opinion, do you think many spouses and partners have a hard time believing it would actually become a business?
I would say that's yes. I think it was easier for me because I'd already seen it happen, right? But I think
Right.
at first I'd have been like, because sometimes, when you tell people like, when clients come in and I'm like, oh yeah, my boyfriend's a reseller, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, wait, he makes money doing that? Yeah.
That's the question we get the most
Yeah.
of, and I get it from my family.
Yeah.
When my family found out that I quit teaching in order to be a reseller, they were like, "You're not going to make enough money."
Right.
And I'm like, "I make more money than I did when I
Yeah.
was teaching, with less stress."
And I imagine it would be difficult if the spouse wasn't like acclimated to the same thing, that it would be
Mhm.
difficult to like, I'm sure there would be a lot of fears, right? Are we going to make
Right.
deals? Will we have money? How are we going to do this? And what's it going to look like? Because it was, I mean, it's an ambiguous thing in the beginning until you find your,
Yeah.
your rhythm. So I would imagine a lot of people would be stressed about it.
I know that we just interviewed Crystal from Crystal Max, and she works full time also. And one of the biggest fears that she had, because I asked her a very similar question, and she was saying that one of the big fears is that we need to maintain insurance
Yeah.
because we're lucky in that I have the VA and
Yeah.
Tracy has some very good insurance through the state.
Mhm.
But a lot of people have a big, huge fear of that part right there. So there can be definitely some actual fears in there, but if there's some money.
Right. I've experienced both paths. My first husband was not supportive at all, but to be fair, he wouldn't have been supportive if I was a doctor. So that the reselling wasn't the
I don't
issue
know.
there.
He might have been then. He might have
don't
been. if you
know.
were a-
I'm not really sure, but and then I have Brian, who obviously very, very supportive
Yeah,
to the point
right.
where he is now a full-time reseller as well. So
Here comes the point where Tracy gets to tell you that she's been reselling for 35 years and I've only been reselling for 15.
That would have
Okay.
put me back down to when I was 10, but
Yeah. I think the insurance too probably wasn't, well, I mean, I wouldn't be impacted by that, but I know from starting private practice, you have to go on the marketplace. And luckily I had forwarded that ahead of Ken, and I have somebody who I trust immensely who has her business is to do that. And so the minute, that was going to be a thing, I'm like, please call her and she will help you. And she did. So we managed the marketplace, and, we live in different counties. And so insurance is different for me in my county than in his county. He had a much better option than I did, but yeah, so she helped us navigate that. So.
I think that is, from where you live, can benefit a lot.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely something someone should look at if they're thinking about getting into it, that perhaps moving can benefit you as far as that, because we are, like you mentioned, we are very blessed. The marketplace insurance that I have is very good and very affordable.
And the VA is uber affordable, and it's getting better every time.
Isn't it? Yeah, I'm hearing good things.
Yeah, it is getting better. I will say that after my last visit, Tracy would totally disagree with you, because literally I raged out of the place. I basically told my doctor, I said, I don't ever want to see her again, which is true. I do not, and I will not. Okay, I'm not going to mention her name, but I'm going to go find another doctor. It was just, there was a huge conflict that I have had with her. Her bedside manner is zero. She has none. And it's not, it wasn't a benefit, because some people can have that no bedside manner, but that still benefits you because they're very blunt.
Right.
This wasn't even that. It was just, she was straight rude. And I was like, I don't need this. I can go to any doctor that I want in the VA, and there's other clinics around and stuff. So, and she kind of knew she pissed me off, and she crossed the line and stuff. So
you're getting the leg pat.
Thank you. Leg pat. I get the leg pat whenever it's like, Brian, shut up. All right. What's the funniest?
Anger management.
Tracy will tell you that I do. And it's funny because like we were driving to a storage unit last week that we ended up not getting. And I do suffer a little bit from road rage, but knowing that, I try to contain it as much as I can. But as you said earlier about the whole body thing, is even when you try to contain everything like that, you're not looking at the cause or the issue or anything like that, or a solution. And so what ended up happening was we were in the middle of the city, And I hate city traffic to begin with. I'm not a city traffic person. We live in an urban area, and we get a lot of traffic where we live anyway. But this was in downtown Atlanta. What?
You get the cat.
I saw it.
Okay, I don't care. He's not going to do anything back there.
Okay.
But we're driving in the city, and Atlanta. The people that drive in Atlanta, y'all are nuts. First off, not one of you know how to drive.
Love y'all.
I love y'all to death and stuff. But we were driving in, and I was in a lane that was ending, and there was a car next to me, and I didn't know that the lane was ending. So I'm slowing down to let this guy go by, and he's just driving right beside me. And I got mad. So I went hard on the brakes, and then I went hard on the accelerator, and Tracy freaked out because she said, "You're aggressive driving." I'm like, okay, but it only lasted for a little bit. At least my rage lasted for a little bit. Her rage did not. It
My
lasted
rage
the
is
rest of the day.
silent though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a lot harder rage to deal with.
And
Okay.
then how I'm fine.
Yeah, I get that too. All right, let's get a little bit lighter side because I literally feel like I'm in danger for my life right now. What's the funniest or craziest thing you've ever seen Ken buy because he thought he could flip it for a profit? And did he actually make money?
Man, that's a lot of question. If you would have said what's the craziest thing that he's ever found, I think we both probably know that story and that answer. But I don't think that that's anything he was going to flip and sell. But you know that? No, but you know, he found in that storage unit, he found that big box of like,
Oh yeah. Mom's
whatever
Mom's
it was.
toys.
Mom's toys.
but
I
I
think it
forgot.
was Mom's toys. Yeah.
Yeah, it was somewhere sitting on my. Oh yeah,
Yeah, right.
What it was sitting on that.
And one of Mom's toys was marble.
We have found a couple of those.
Yeah. And same as a bowling ball in my landscaping, because you know I use like repurposed stuff in my landscaping and stuff.
Yeah, and I will guarantee you guys, she does buy bowling balls at yard sale. So if you live in the Columbus area or anywhere north of the Columbus area, and you have a yard sale, I'm telling you right now, put a bowling ball in that picture. She will show up.
Are you a New York Jets fan by chance? Because we keep
Giants,
New York Giants fan. Because we keep tripping over a New York Giants bowling ball in our
I
garage.
was using that to crush the bank.
Right? What is the craziest thing?
Can't go too far, babe.
I don't even know if I have an answer for that. I don't know what I've ever. I mean, I think because I don't ever look at him and go, "That's a stupid buy." I think he probably says that to me more than I say it to him, right? So what? She does that?
She says it to me almost every buy I buy.
Oh, see, I don't.
I'm a lot nicer about that. I'm just like, well, that's interesting.
No. You're like this.
What?
Why did you get this? That's how that's her nice way.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you get this? Well, I think I could resell it. It has no value. I would, or she'll say this is the one that is the knife in the back. That's not a knife in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have got that. I wouldn't have picked that up. I won't. No, that won't go on Whatnot. No, we're not going to run that on Whatnot.
Yeah. I can't think of a single thing that he ever has purchased that, because he's a very, very careful buyer, right? Mm-hmm. He's careful about money expenditure, but he's always been that person, which is probably why we get along, because I'm not. And so, he's kind of I always said, when I graduated with my master's degree, I said, dating me has to be like, you're the balloon weight on this giant helium balloon that just keeps going like this. And he's like, that's exactly what dating you is like. But, but he is much more prudent with finances. So I don't see him ever buying anything that was frivolous or where I went, oh, you shouldn't have done that. It'd be more like, why didn't you buy that?
Yeah. I've had that. I had that at the last 127, which is making me want to go back because hopefully we'll have more. Because I had instant regret when I did not buy that one box.
Yeah.
So.
That's funny. What do you think is the biggest challenge of being the spouse of a reseller? Is it the clutter, the late night listing sessions, the sourcing trips, or the stress of not making sales?
Well, we don't live together, so I'm going to have to answer this thing, because I think he's pretty. he's careful about the clutter. It can get, cluttered, but hey, come in my house. If I turn this whole thing around, you'd go, we got to rework it. Right? So, because I'm about it too. But I would say from my perspective, because I care so much about him, and that like if there's a period of time where maybe like things aren't selling or there's a slowdown in that to me is stressful, because I know it's stressful on him, so it's stressful on me. So the late nights, I'm up till 2:30 in the morning every morning. So like if he were having a bad day, he'd just have to call me. So I'm up. But yeah, I would say that, because you want so much for things to work, because if you've got a dream and you want to follow this dream and this is how you're going to do it, then I want it to work. And that would be anybody. But yeah, for him, I think he's a stellar human, so I want things to go well for him. So
yeah, agreed. And I will say that for all of those, one of the things, because we have experienced other sellers, we've been to other sellers, and they've invited us into their homes, and we've broken bread and everything. And the clutter is definitely a big thing. A lot of people, when they come in, the first thing that they always say is, please excuse the mess. And it's like,
I say that,
okay,
yeah.
I'm a reseller, so believe me, I understand all of that. The late night listing, that's just, I've noticed that from teaching. When I was a teacher, I would be off at a certain time, but then I would have to grade papers and do all of those things and all of that. Well, Tracy literally has to come in sometimes and tell me, it's 9 o'clock. You don't have to keep listening. Let's go with it. So that's another thing that always does happen. And then as far as the not making the sales, oh my gosh, talk about doing a whatnot show and nothing is selling. And that stress and that, oh my gosh, I just put like hours and hours of into work into something. So all of those can be definitely big challenges, especially for the spouse of somebody, and especially if they are living together under that same roof, of being like, okay, it can't come into this space. It can't come into this place. And I will say that for us, one of the biggest things is we've said, this is our space, and we don't want any of the reselling to come into this space.
Right.
So we buy storage units and we rent out storage units just for that purpose of the thing. Right. And then we try to set up a time and say, okay, we're not going to work past this time.
Doesn't always work.
Doesn't always work, but we try to do that. So there are ways to come up to solutions to those challenges, because I think each one of them is a challenge in and of itself. And there are going to be times when you're not going to make any sales. I mean, that's just the nature of sales. Okay. We're not Walmart. Okay. Where people are walking in, a million people coming in and they're all going to buy something. So
I think that's the case though. I mean, you think about like, you don't have the guarantee of a steady across the board salary. Right. Sometimes you might make a lot of money, like with your lounge fly bag the other night that I tuned in right at the right moment, and my face went, literally, this is what it did. It went.
She has no idea that we are literally attached. You have noticed this, right? Yeah, she has pulled this thing and almost out of my ear 5 times now.
I'll go ahead and give it to you. I actually have to get up. I have to do something with my foot. So.
Okay, you go do something with your foot.
So that was very cool to see that kind of thing. But I know that doesn't happen all the time. But so it's not like you go like, oh, okay, so we're going to have this guaranteed paycheck every week of the same amount. Sometimes I'm sure it goes up and sometimes it goes down. And again, the same thing in private practice. If I don't see a client, nobody's paying me a salary, right?
Right.
And then each client is contingent on how much their insurance is going to pay. So you can see somebody and then somebody, and what's paid can be appreciably different. So you don't have, or somebody says, I can't come in today. So you don't have that. So I would imagine being a spouse, that, a steady paycheck is important to people, and there would be a fear of that because there's no guarantee. So yeah, I can
exactly. And a lot of people are afraid to make that jump.
Yeah.
From part-time to full-time because of that one issue of that stability and security, because I consider it a security of, I know that paycheck's going to come in. When I was a teacher, I knew I was getting paid. Whether I worked or not, I knew I was going to get paid every single week, because teachers, we can actually, I don't know about how it is in every state, but I know in Georgia, you could choose to be paid 52 weeks, or you could choose to be paid 40 something weeks, where you don't get paid during the summer.
Sure.
But almost anybody with a brain would take the 52 weeks and just get
Absolutely.
paid through the whole year. But yeah, Tracy's foot is starting to bother her because she was getting up and she wasn't putting her boot on. So
Oh.
she was being a little bit bad. So she's going to go take care of some stuff right there. Well, I kind of think I know the answer to this one, but we'll ask it anyway. Have
Okay.
you ever had to tell Ken, no, we are absolutely not need to buy something because we already have too much stuff? And if you have ever had to do that, how did that conversation go? Because we have had that. Tracy and I have had that.
Really? I would think if that conversation happened, it went the other way again, because I'm a person of like, okay, like we talked about the bowling balls. Oh, okay, I'm going to get a bowling ball. Well, now I need 18 bowling balls because you don't know when you might need one later, right? So I have to have this one that I'm going to use with, but I got 17 back here just in case I need to do that again. So, and Ken's not that way. He's much more, he's like my dad in that way. Like, he's not much for excess. So yeah, I've never said that, but Tracy has said that to you.
Oh God, yeah. I know. Actually, believe it or not, I said that to Tracy.
Oh, really?
Because the question was originally, have you ever had to say no about a storage unit? Because I know Ken was getting storage units for a while, but I knew his situation. So, what do you think about if in your opinion, if a spouse, other than like us, has ever had that conversation with anybody, or would they have that conversation with anybody? And any advice if they did have that conversation? Did that make any sense?
Sort of.
Not to me, but I tuned in late.
I think so.
Yeah.
Are you saying basically like if one spouse is a reseller, one's not, and the non-reseller was saying to the other one, hey, we don't need this because we already have this stuff? Is that what you're
sort of like, I'll give you an example. My mother-in-law said it to me yesterday. Because we were talking about going up and doing the 127. The 127 is a highway sale. It's the world's longest highway sale. It goes from Michigan to Alabama. And we're going to go up to Louisville, Kentucky, and then pick up the one in Frankfurt. And she literally said to me, do you really need more stuff? And I'm like, yeah, you can always use more stuff.
Well, to be fair, let's be honest. Before we bought the storage unit a couple of days ago, we were out of stuff.
Really?
Pretty much.
She was out of stuff, not me. I had plenty of stuff.
I had 0 things to list on eBay. 0.
Oh,
none.
Well, you know what? And so I would think that same thing. If you have an opportunity to get like stock in, or whatever the word is you want to, I don't know, merchandise, items, whatever, then take that opportunity, right? Because it might be, I don't know what your guys' winters are like, but ours are terrible and there's no yard sales and there's none of that stuff, right? And so winter, you're not going to have as much opportunity unless you're going to go to the thrift stores with everybody else, Right. Yeah. So, yeah.
And for us doing the highway sale, it's a lot more of just relaxing. It's going to be just having fun. And we'll come home with some stuff in the truck, no doubt. But it's a lot more, hey, can we go visit our friends? Can we pop in the casino? Can we, go swim in the pool? And do a little yard sailing too.
You said this pool only because I wanted to go into the pool because my back hurt this morning.
Yes.
But I can just imagine, though, a spouse saying that to a reseller, saying, no, absolutely not. You're not going to get that. Yeah. And it's sort of like, how should somebody handle something like that? Knowing what you just said was a great one. You have to have inventory in order to sell stuff, to constantly reselling things. You have to constantly put things up on eBay. Everybody always says, if you're a static seller, you have to be listing on eBay constantly. And that is the biggest thing that people say when we ask them about Whatnot and live selling is, what is the biggest thing? Consistency. Well, you can't be consistent trying to sell the same item. If I
Right.
tried to sell the same DVD 15 million times,
Right.
or 15 times, and it doesn't
Right.
sell, people are going to stop coming into the room, for
Right.
one.
Yes.
And
Right.
on eBay, it's the same thing. If
Yeah.
you got like only a certain amount, it's not going to go that way.
Mhm.
So, but then you also have your spouse saying, "Hey, we have a lot of stuff now.
Mhm.
Why do you want to get more?"
Mhm. And I would say because
Balance.
it's helpful to have variety, because there
Mhm.
are, I've seen things like, when Ken was selling during COVID and he couldn't keep puzzles in stock. And we had a friend who
Yeah.
had bought puzzles, and really nice puzzles. And then he did them once, and then he had them all jammed in his basement. And he said to Ken, well, go get those puzzles. And they sold like that. But then, and the Wii, like the Wii Fit and all that, right? During COVID. And now I
Mhm.
don't think that they probably sell as well as they did then. So if you don't have that inventory and something's really big at that time, it's good. What if you had it back here and it's like, hey, puzzles are really hitting, then you're like, look at all these puzzles I have, right? So I don't think
Right.
it's bad to have inventory. And maybe you just say to the spouse is, it's good to have a variety. How about we just try it for, give me a couple months to work to see how this is,
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's a great response to it right there, and I think that's helpful to a lot of people to say, hey, give me a chance, let's see how this works out.
And if
and
it
stuff.
doesn't
Because
work, we
Tracy,
won't do it. But yeah.
Tracy has put the brakes on me from buying some certain things too. I'm at a yard sale, and she'd be like, "No, don't get that. No, let's not mess with that. That's something. Let somebody else deal with that. We have enough of something. VHS tapes, media, whatever it may be, and stuff." So it is something that can be helpful. There are ways to do it that are more helpful than no,
Yeah.
absolutely not. But
Correct. Right.
you know,
I feel like okay, but this is me. I think the bottom line in any good relationship is reciprocity. Not some people say it's communication, but I think it's reciprocity. So if I love and honor you, and you love and honor me, and it's equal. Now there are some times where somebody might be down or whatever, but I'm talking about, I will feel like that if a spouse said, "Don't do that." It feels more hierarchical at that moment, right? Instead of saying, because I think a lot of times we can circumvent some of those communication issues by understanding that if we use I statements, like, I'm feeling a little stressed right now because you have so much stuff. Can we talk about it? Right. But instead of going, you have too much stuff and knock it off. Right. Nobody's going to communicate back to that. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I need to be better at that.
I don't know. You actually have been better on that, because you'll be like, "Hey, have you done anything with this?" Or "What are you planning on doing with this right here? I've been tripping over it," or things like that. So I get your little clues and things like that. So, but we're really, really, I just think that what you just said was absolutely perfect. Okay. Absolutely perfect. All right.
If you had to guess, what percentage of conversations are about reselling, and does the business ever really turn off?
Business never turns off. I can answer that one without any problem. I think if you would ask Ken the question about percentage, it would be different than what I would answer. And so, yeah, and I'm sure when you put this up, he'll have his little comment in the comment section, but because he would tell, because, we talk about, we've been together a long time. It'll be 36 years coming up this October. And so, I mean, we're in great.
Hold on. Let's stop for let me interrupt you for just 1 minute. Okay.
Yeah. We started dating when I was 3. What? No, I'm just kidding. What?
Yeah. A lot of people might ask, why have you not gotten married? And there is a very, very good reason why they have not gotten married.
Okay, I know what you want me to say.
So let's go ahead and just explain that one little detail on this one. And I know this one.
Sure. Well, it's very simple. Yes. So my first name is Jill, and Ken's last name is Bill. So if we got married, I would have to go through the rest of my life as Jill Bill, and I'm not that brave. So
right.
No.
I love that.
So,
I do too.
Yeah. But wait, I remember what we were talking about now. Hold on. You said
a percentage of your business. Yeah.
So we were definitely ingrained in each other's families, right? I think honest to gosh, I think my family likes Ken better than they like me, but I understand. But I do get
Well, I
it.
can promise you that is exactly the way it is. My family loves Tracy, hates me.
I understand.
That's only because of Robin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All because of Robin.
I do understand why they would like him better. So, I mean, we spend a little percentage of time, but see, here's the conversations because we video chat every night. And this is literally because I can't talk about my job. So he'll say, how was your day today? And I'll go, I saw clients.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I talk about my workday. I saw clients. I might tell him how many. And then I'm like, then I came home and mowed, or I came home and I did this, right? And that's the extent of that. And then I ask him about his, and he'll tell me what he did. And then, but he would tell you the resell part is a lot lower percentage that I'm going to tell you, because he would tell you in our conversations, the majority of what I talk about is true, is the band feel. And then
I'm going to go ahead and say this 100% that is a true statement.
Yeah, I know. But see, here's the thing. I can't talk about my job. These guys, not just the band, the human beings that create this band are some of my very favorite people on the planet. And they make me very happy. They bring me great joy. And I love them. And so that's what I talk about, because they make me happy. So
I'll have a link down below to the band Feel, by the way, just letting you all know, who are appearing with Cheap Trick.
Yes, the whole month of November, they're with Cheap Trick. Yeah. Yeah, they're just phenomenal human beings. And yeah, they've been a great bright light in my life. So Ken would tell you that we talk more about that, or I do. But I would say all that to say that was a way big ADHD answer, and I haven't even answered you yet. I would say probably about 70% of our conversation maybe is reselling. Right. Ken would probably tell you it's like 40 and then, like 60% Banfield, but no, but that's not true. But there it's probably pretty equal. But yeah, reselling is because I'm interested in what he's talking about. And then I also like doing stuff and buying stuff. And, I've started throwing some items up on Vinted myself, because I'm not ever going to be a professional reseller like you guys, because there's too many rules and I don't have that much time to do what you guys do. And so basically I'm on Vinted getting rid of the hoarding stuff I have going on in here in the house. Right. So I'm selling clothing. I have some purses that I've sold, books. I went through, I'm working on my will, like updating my will. And so that made me start thinking about a lot of stuff that if I would die, somebody's going to be so mad at me if they'd walk in this house. There's so much stuff, right? And so I've been picking like one area at a time. So I went through, I have like 4 gigantic bookcases in my spare bedroom of just books I've acquired throughout, life, like all of a bunch of the books, because my master's degree in counseling is from a seminary. So I have all these seminary books and all these Christian books and all these counseling books and all this. And I went through and I purged a ton of them. So I've got some of those up on Vinted. I ran all the ISBNs through thrift books. Now they're not going to pay you anything, but it's better than having them just sit around. Right. So I took them in my office and we're going to see what we can do. So that's the Vinted thing to me is just fun, because I can just like, I sold a shirt today or whatever, but it's not, I'm not trying to make a living on it. I'm just trying to get it out of my house. So
Right.
So I talk about that a lot too. And, Ken has put some stuff up on Vinted as well. And so we do talk about that, because there's some things I'm like, I don't understand this, and he'll walk me through it. So I would say, what did I say? I would say 70%. What about you guys?
70%. What do you think, Tracy?
For us?
Yeah.
I'd say at least 80.
80. Yeah, I said 90 when I was talking.
I mean, for us, it's reselling, it's our cats, and then we attempt to talk to each other about our personal interests that aren't necessarily the same. He'll talk to me about comics. I'll talk about the book I'm reading, talk a little bit about music, but that's, a lot of it is reselling.
Yeah. And I would guess that it's probably between about 70 to 80 for most reselling couples, that it's just one of them is a reseller. And it's one of those things where if you're not a reseller, you're not going to understand a lot of the terms, and it'll go in one ear and straight out the other. But it's still a good thing, right? there.
if I could talk about my work and I would say like, you know, to Ken, well, then they showed signs of this and this and this, and he's going to be like glazed over or whatever, you know? So, yeah, but yeah. And I think if I worked a job where I could talk about things, that percentage would go a little bit, but literally I'm at 0 when it comes to my own stuff. So
Yeah. Well, then this question kind of follows along with that is what is one thing you think resellers think their partners understand, but in reality, they just shake their head and go along with it?
the excitement over finding a specific object.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because, you know, Ken, when we were up at the sales in Seville, and he like finds this coffee pot and it was just this big old thing. And he's like, I'm like, why did you buy that? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, but.
Oh, wait, hold on a minute. We had that question earlier and you said something about that.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But then he explained it right away because, like that we had people with my cousin Dan was with us and
Right.
My not
We
brother
met Dan.
Oh yes, you did meet Dan. My not
Yeah, we met
brother Gordon and my godchildren were here, and so we were all up there. And Gordon had told Ken, "Hey, I have this coffee pot, and it's worth money." And so Ken picked it up. So I mean, but see, here's why I can say do you know what I bought in Seville? Do you know? I mean, I could show you on the phone, but I'm not going to. You're just gonna have to come see it yourself. This was my cousin Dan's fault, but
It's okay.
I bought it for the cabin.
I love that.
It's probably about 7 feet tall. It's about a totem pole.
Oh my God. Okay.
Wow.
I've got to see that now.
Yeah.
All right, Tracy, we got
I'll
to take
send
a
you
trip.
a picture of it later. It's really cool. And we surprised my mom with it. And she's like, at first she's like, what am I going to do with that? And then I'm like, I got the perfect spot for it. So I put it there and she's like, I love it. So yeah.
We have kind of an African type totem pole thing that we just got out of the storage unit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we got at least an 8-foot canoe.
Yeah.
That's hand
that's
carved.
awesome.
It's a hand carved
Like
one
decorative
and stuff.
canoe.
It's a decorative canoe. It's
Oh.
only about that. It's only probably about that wide,
That's
and it's
cool.
hand carved out of one piece of wood. But
Mhm.
it's got some breaks in it. But we're gonna look
We're
at
gonna try to
that.
fix it up and get it up on the marketplace.
I can tell you when Tracy bought the Loungefly bag that we sold on Whatnot for the atrocious amount of money that we did, I shook my head. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, this thing is worth such and such. And I said, no, it's not.
Yeah, I was
And I'm a reseller, and I'm like,
blown
no,
away
it's
by
not.
that. Yeah.
But yeah, it sometimes you just, a lot of resellers do think their partners understand, and they don't have a clue.
Right.
They don't have a clue.
Well, I don't understand when he'll buy these big lots of media and then he makes money on them.
Yeah.
It's like, why does everybody want? This is just junk movies. Everybody owns these movies.
How about this
Right.
one? How many times has Colin is my son. How many times has Colin said to me, going, you're not going to be able to sell that. Why do people buy that? Why do
Yes.
people buy that? And I'm
He's
like,
the worst for
I don't
that.
know, son, but they just gave me $100 for it, and he goes,
Yeah.
why? They can get it off the internet. And I'm like, son, I don't know. And nor do I care,
Correct. Right. Exactly.
Have you ever accidentally become part of the business, such as packing orders, sourcing, shipping, moderating shows, organizing inventory? And did you volunteer or were you recruited?
Well, like I hopped when we did Whatnot, pretty regularly. I hopped on those shows because like I like to bicker and banter with him. So it was an opportunity to do it on screen. But
That's the funnest.
yeah, I would say from the beginning when I just ran back in my closet and dug out the shoes, it's been ongoing since then. So and sometimes I buy a bunch of stuff and he'll go, I don't want to sell that, like clothing. So I'm like, look at these cool clothes. And he's like, I'm not a clothing salesperson. And I'm like, but look at these cool clothes. And he's like, but I don't want to sell clothes. But look what I got. I mean, that's me buying and buying and buying. So anyway, now I'm selling them. But anyway, so yeah, I volunteered because I'll jump in and help. So it was me volunteering. I'm sure not everybody has a spouse that like jumps in and wants to do that. I'm sure some people are like, no, that's silly. But no, I like to do it. And yeah. I don't know that I'd want to do it full time because then it wouldn't be fun for me.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But this is fun. So, I have little breaks at work if I don't have a client and I'll just run over there and take pictures of stuff and throw it up on. This happened yesterday. I was in a Whatnot show, and I don't do anything in Loungefly shows anymore, but I popped in one, somebody I haven't seen for a long time. And
I got to break in again too. I'm going to tell you something right now. If you're running a Loungefly show and you're giving away a Loungefly, I don't care how many damn ass people are in the room. Jill's winning it.
I have one
She
over
will
there.
win it.
Yeah. So, but I won these two backpacks. It was a Bio World Toy Story, and then a Stitch in this. So they had the backpack, the insulated lunch thing, and then pencil cases. Well, the Stitch one, the zipper was broken, right? And I'm like, well, now I'm going to throw that away and then I'm like, nah. I put it up on Vinted. I literally said, hey, look, the zipper's broken, everything. I didn't even have it lit. I went punk, and it went boop, sold. Now I sold it for hardly anything. And I took pictures, and I'm like, the zipper is broken, right? It's never been used, but the zipper is broken. And I sold both those backpack sets. They're the only two things that I listed on my little break yesterday at work. I'm like, we'll just see what happens. And I have to send them out today. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it's something. So
I love that.
I volunteered big time, but again, because I was like, I wanted him to do well in it. And so, as much as he supported me and my endeavors in the race and, starting my own practice and stuff, I'm going to do that. So
that's awesome. I love that. I think the support is so much a factor in doing anything, is when you have that support of your spouse. And it doesn't have to be support in that they're actively doing it with you.
Right.
It's the support of saying, hey, go ahead and give it a shot. Go ahead and do that. I'm behind you 100%. Yeah. I think a lot of spouses don't do that. And I think that causes a lot of friction between resellers or a reseller and his spouse, because of them bringing things home and them like, what the hell are you doing with this? And it's like, well, I'm going to sell it for this. And that's one of the things that I think is a huge problem. And this is just in my opinion too, is that a spouse thinks that when you put it up on eBay, it should instantly sell.
Yeah.
Like, I bought all of this media, Tracy mentioned earlier. And I'm going to run this all in this show. It's not going to all sell. And if you put it up on Whatnot, you're not going to sell all of it. And if I put it up on eBay, it's not going to sell the instant that you put it up. And so a lot of people, they don't understand that. And they think, oh, you got this t-shirt. It's a great graphic t-shirt. It's the band Feel. This is amazing. This is great. And I'm going to put it up on eBay. And I put it up on eBay and it doesn't sell. And the next morning they wake up and they said, did you sell your shirt?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I just listed it and stuff. Yeah. And a lot of times that can cause some of that animosity or something like that. So I think just supporting is a big part. What is one, I've been waiting to ask this question. I mean, since I started and I knew we were going to have you on, this was the question I wanted to ask more than anything. What's one habit Ken has that drives you absolutely crazy?
He has no bad habits. He's absolutely perfect.
Oh my God.
Wait. Nope. No lightning came down. Oh, what? Just one? You just want me to list one?
Just one. Because I did say one habit. Yeah.
Did you see it's a habit? Okay. Because we're different in a couple areas. Well, we're different in a lot of areas, but we're different in our speeds are different. I always say, like, if somebody's going, hey, we should do this, I'm bulldogging it to get it done, figured out how we doing it, what are we doing, and he's going to be back here not doing that. And so he's much more reserved. I know you're going to find that completely surprising because he is a very big presence, but he is much more reserved, more cautious about things than I am.
I believe that.
And in that it can really teeter over on this side of procrastination.
You're so nice. So nice.
Ken's a procrastinator, dang it. No.
Yes.
But sometimes he is. But sometimes so am I. But I've worked really hard to not be that because that's my tendency by nature. But yeah, I would say procrastination. Yes.
Okay. And what's one thing that he does that makes you proud?
Oh gosh.
Aw.
Now I'm probably gonna cry.
Well, I don't want you to cry.
What is the one thing that he does that makes me proud?
What is something, yeah, or what's one
He-
thing that he does that makes you proud?
He's authentically Ken.
Yeah, he is.
I'm going to
And I don't-
100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Because go ahead.
It's a does and an is, right? It's the
Mhm.
things that he does. Like, you guys know that it's so stupid, but he's all right in my book a little bit, but don't tell him. Okay. So don't let him see this. No, I'm just kidding. Block him from this. No.
I'll block Ken from watching this episode.
Please. You know, you guys know this, but he's taken on this Santa, right?
I was going to mention that.
Yeah. And I've never seen anybody in my life be more Santa than Ken, right? There's nothing like he's such a good human. He's a good human in public. He's a good human in private. He doesn't, there's no bad or malice in him. There's just not. And so
Right.
I'm proud of the fact that he is, he's gotten treated less than fairly sometimes in this reseller world.
Agreed.
And he's still stood. He stood. He hasn't retaliated.
No, I know.
And he's just taken the high road when I necessarily didn't want him to. Like, do what you need to do, dude. And he just stands. He's just authentic, and he's one of the best people that I've ever known. So that's what I would say. I'm proud of the fact that he is who he is, and he never backs down from that. Right?
I agree with that 100% because I was going to mention the fact that he is a seasonal Santa, and he is taking that to a level that is amazing. And he's not doing it out of any kind of selfish reasons, even though he says that he's not.
I know.
And because he'll say, "Oh, I'm doing it because it makes me feel." No.
Right.
It is Ken. 100%. I should just name this fucking episode the partners who live with Ken every day, and be that. This is the SSK moment of the show, right? There'll be a link down below to Ken SSKPromo.
Wait, okay, I need to back up and then tell you that maybe that's one trait. So we went to the great big Santa school last October, right, and got himself
right.
Okay, because there's literally Santa schools, and then. So he's so into it. And if you guys know, I could give a crap about Christmas, honestly. Right.
Yeah.
It's been a struggle for me since my dad passed away, and all the, all the traditions and things that die when your family dies, and, my uncle and my dad and all of that. And I'm like, I could be fine if we never celebrated it again. And now I date Santa. I flipping date Santa. And when we started dating, he's like a drummer in a garage band. He's got really long hair. I'm a happy camper, and now I have Santa, right? And so, it pushes my
limits. If that doesn't show you love, nothing else will.
It pushes my limits, but I'm going to confess it. I don't remember what month it was. It was earlier this year, but I don't remember what month it was. But I went to like one of those things too, and I'm certified as Mrs. Claus, for crying out loud, right? So,
gosh.
I think it's in March. It was either in March or April. He was telling me about it when I was talking to him.
Certified Mrs. Claus.
Yeah. We have certified Mrs. Claus.
That is amazing.
Well, that's an upgrade because if I'm not mistaken, last year you were an elf.
Yes, and I still elf sometimes. Like he did a Christmas in July event. Oh my gosh. If he didn't send you I'm going to send you a picture. He has on like red bib shorts. And oh my God, but people loved him. And so I did all I did was I wore because it was hot. I'm not wearing that, but I had a red skirt and a shirt that had Santa on it. Said, "I love a man with a beard." That was what I wore. Right. But I just followed behind him and I'm still always going to be the support person because this is all him. Right. But
there's no doubt.
I have to ask, do they have certified reindeer schools for everybody who wants to be a furry?
You know what? I'm going to look into it. Hey. That might be something.
That's not for y'all. I ain't getting involved with none of that nonsense.
Yeah.
I might have just found something that's more my speed.
Yeah, we did get to go pet reindeer last year, but I didn't see if they were human in costume or anything. So normal.
Oh my, oh my gosh, I love it.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone whose spouse is thinking about becoming a reseller, what would it be?
Be patient, be supportive, be quiet. Like, well, really though, I mean, like in anything, if somebody wants to start something new, yeah, there's going to be fear. Fear's a factor. Again, if it's a spouse and you're like saying like, and the other person's not into it, and then now you're going to lose, if you're going to lose a steady paycheck, like we talked about, there's fear involved.
Mhm.
And sometimes when
Right.
we feel that fear, or if we feel vulnerable, like, oh no, we might not be able to make our bills or anything like that, it comes out as anger because people don't know how to say, I'm feeling fearful or I'm feeling vulnerable. It's like, you're an idiot for doing this. And that's what we do. And so I would say if that's your thought process, don't say it and figure out within yourself, what is it?
I do want to ask you on this one because it was something that you said that I agree with, and in one instance, I don't think you meant it the way that you said it. And when you said to be quiet,
Oh yeah.
There's a way for. I mean, you need to be able to express concerns. I think
Yes.
in
Right.
the thing to be able to express concerns. But then you clean that right up when you said, if it's going to come out as anger,
Yeah.
hold that in.
That's
Don't
what I mean.
that you're an
Right.
idiot for doing that. But definitely,
Oh
you
yeah.
want to always, be able to feel free to express concerns, and definitely throw ideas about, hey, if we lose this, what could happen with this?
Yes.
And in an instance of playing devil's advocate, it is something that is helpful. And I'm almost 100% positive, and I could be wrong, and if I am, you just tell me. But I don't think you meant don't say nothing.
No, I
You
meant
know.
quiet when and that's why I went on to explain what I meant is, yeah, if you're feeling,
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, absolutely. We need to feel our emotion. We need to be able to talk to our other person about it, but in a way
Right.
that is let's come to some sort of agreement on it. And because the minute somebody says that's stupid, why are you doing that? The other person gets defensive or they shut down. And so then you're not going to have a
Exactly.
conversation. So yeah, to be quiet, I should have said be filtered. Maybe that was a better way to word that.
Yeah. And I knew that and
Yeah.
stuff, but if anybody was watching the video and they
Right.
saw that and you said to that point right there, I know that they were going to take that out of the wrong context.
And I want to just kind of take this moment to kind of give a shout out to the reselling partners or partners of the resellers out there. One of my closest friends in the reseller world that I talk to every day is a partner of a reseller. Gulf Coast Pickers Ryan. He doesn't really resell. He supports his wife Christine.
Oh,
you met Ryan and Christine at the national meetup.
She's the reseller. He has a full-time job.
I thought they were both for
her 100. I mean, he does a little bit, but she's the reseller. And I talk to him every day, and he is the most supportive spouse you would ever imagine.
Thanks.
And that's not.
I'll leave now.
It's not the reseller.
Me and Ken will be, me and Jill will be done.
But,
we don't support.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Those people like Jill, and I would say you, but you're a reseller, babe. You're a reseller. But those supportive spouses are so important, and y'all are awesome. You really are. Spouses
put up in that list of people that are stellar human beings and supportive is Joe and Nicole.
I was just about to say that when you said that. Yes, Nicole's amazing,
phenomenal. Yeah, two of our favorite people that we've met and been able to spend time with at especially the last Nashville meetup was Joe and Nicole. We had them on as guests on our podcast. They were phenomenal. And Joe actually asked me the same thing that Jill asked me when I asked her to be the guest, and that was, do you want it to be just me? And I gave him the opposite answer that I gave Jill, because I said, yes, Jill, I just want this one to be you. And I told Joe, I said, no, Joe, I want Joe and Nicole because you two are just so two amazing people.
Yeah.
And there was another second part to that question. It says, what's something that you wish someone had told you from the beginning?
Okay. That it added a facet of not just like, what do I want to say? Okay, that going to sales and stuff became almost a have to instead of a do you want to,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you have to get
Oh yeah.
inventory. So there's a facet of maybe the frivolity of it that went away because
Mm-hmm.
this is what he does. And so it isn't like we can go, do you want to drive past that one? Because that looks dumb. It's like, well, I better stop and see what that is, you know? So that would be what I would say.
Yeah, and that is a big thing too. Is that you've got to go to those clearance sales.
Mhm.
You have to go to those stores that are closing, so you can try to get some great deals. You have to stop at that yard sale. It's all pink, but you still have to stop at that yard sale.
Yes,
I love the pink
exactly.
sales.
Yeah.
Didn't used to, but now the pink sales are one of my favorites.
Exactly. Well, those were our questions. We hope that everybody enjoyed us talking about Ken. Which by the way, if y'all don't know, I already talked to Jill and I asked Jill if we could do that beforehand. So this was one of the episodes that because I knew that we were going to be talking about a spouse, and I wanted to make sure because Ken is a super, super good person. I love him to death, and he's just absolutely phenomenal. This is our new segment now because we've actually did away with the Bolo Minute because it was just one that was hard for us to keep finding bolos. But if we ever find anything, we'll throw some of those out there. But our new segment is the Whatnot Challenge, where we want to hear from our listeners that are out there. So we have a question, and for this week, our question for this week is: be honest. What's the weirdest thing your reseller partner has ever brought home and said, "Trust me, it'll sell"? And everybody that is listening right now, you drop the comments down below, and we are going to pick one of those comments. And eventually, those comments are going to be getting something. And everybody that is a winner from this point on, they will be participating in something. We just haven't figured out what we're going to be giving them. You do that part.
Oh, last week, our question was: if you could give every Whatnot seller one piece of advice in just one sentence, what would it be? Thanks for all the amazing comments like don't act desperate to sell with your heart, and build trust. All were amazing comments, but the one winner has to be from Elise Randoms. Love you, Elise. And it is learn efficiency and stay organized.
Guys, I wish the hell I'd have known that from the very beginning, because that has been one of our biggest pitfalls is being efficient with your time and staying organized. But all of the comments were really, really good. We did have to disqualify one of them because it wasn't one sentence. So we are really
Brian's being strict.
Okay,
Man.
do you want me to pull up the video where you said it has to be one sentence?
Well, I wasn't going to actually hold him to it.
Well, we're going to try to hold people to that one right there. But it's just a great piece.
Can I add one?
Yes, you can.
I've moved over. I mean, I still watch Whatnot. I've moved over sort of into the rock and crystal community a lot. And I don't see this happen a lot. So when I pop back other places, but if I can't stand like if somebody refers to the chat as chat more than like 87 times, I want to throw my phone across the room, right? Or just like, come on, chat, bid it up. I've got bills to pay. Come on, like it's our personal responsibility to make sure that you know what I mean? That's annoying. So yeah.
Guys, just letting you all know, I have standard questions that we ask almost every single one of our guests. And one of the questions is what is your best pet peeve about resellers on Whatnot? And I didn't ask that on this one because this one was more focused on the other side of reselling and being a partner to a reseller. But that by far is our number one response is, come on, chat, let's bid it up or bid it up or anything like that. Even I got guilty of saying that. Apex Jeff pointed out to me in one of the shows is don't call me chat. And I try not to.
We say it casually. And yeah. I've said it before that it's kind of one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. Pretty much anything you call everybody, it's going to piss somebody off.
Yeah.
So But
I try to call them friends, or I'll just mention
Yeah.
names and stuff. But you will hardly ever. The only time you will ever hear me say, "Come on, chat, let's bid this up," and I'll usually say, "Let's bid this up," is if I'm doing a charity show.
Mhm.
That's it.
Makes sense.
And usually when I'm saying that is I'm like, guys, it doesn't matter what this goes for. 100% of this is going to stop soldier
and
suicide.
we're paying
And
the
we're
fees.
paying the
So
fees.
you're
So
taking
I
money out
will
of our
pay all of the
pocket.
fees. So and it does not bother me one iota to do that. But that's
Right.
the only time you'll ever hear me do that. And I will always say it that way. But I agree with you. I really just don't like that.
But there's a difference between calling a collective group of people, in this case would be the chat. There's a difference between talking and using it in that term and spitting it out of your mouth like you're calling somebody
Right.
an a-hole,
I
right?
agree.
And that's
Yeah.
what it sounds like sometimes, like
Yeah.
chat. That you're not doing that. I can guarantee you that. So
Well,
We're not.
we try our best not to do that. I try to make everything all personal. As a matter of fact, I think I said in one of the show, yes, when we were on Flippin' Mimi Texas's show, one of my questions is we did a trivia, and one of my trivia questions was, does Kara Flippin' Mimi Texas have close to 50,000 followers? And everybody said yes, 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 and I said no. She has close to 50,000 friends,
yeah, that's the truth.
and that's how
Yeah,
I tried to
absolutely.
do something like that, and that's how I actually look at it. When
Mhm.
somebody buys something from me, I consider it to be a friendship type of a relationship, as opposed to me being a buyer and a seller.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yep.
Now it's time for our shine the light. Sorry, it was all together, so I was trying to find.
Well, that's
spot to
because I
segment.
had to jam it all together because it's 3 sheets.
This is our shine the light segment where we shine the light on 3 different sellers at 3 different levels. Our first seller is our growing seller, and this is somebody who's new to us, who was introduced to us by our dear friend Willow. It is Calabash Coffee Maker. He is a seller on Whatnot with 712 sales and 2.7 thousand followers. He literally roasts coffee beans fresh on his shows and ships the next business day.
Wow.
He makes them special for each person. I actually have been trying to get into one of his shows. I haven't got in there yet, but I'm actually excited to buy and try out.
He
some
literally will make you a
Yeah.
special blend. Like, he'll add whatever you want, and he roasts the beans on the show.
Yep.
So it's not one of those things where you're getting something that was roasted months and months and months ago. And our friend Willow, who was our last guest on the podcast that came out Wednesday, What Not Again podcast, he advised them to them. And if you're a coffee drinker, guys, I'm telling you right now, give him a
haven't
shout.
personally tried it yet, but I actually trust Willow explicitly, so I feel very confident that it's good stuff, and I will be purchasing from them because I don't just suggest people randomly. But question, what is one piece of advice that you give to any seller on Whatnot on how to grow? You've been in a lot of Whatnot shows.
Oh, I know she.
I'm processing. That's what I do when I process. I look off into space. What I give if they were going to grow? Okay.
To help them grow.
Yeah, I would probably say get into other people's shows, and not just because you want their followers, but get into other people's and create relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Buy stuff.
I like that. I like that a lot.
No. But yeah, build relationships.
Okay, that's what I heard Ken tell me. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
He did not tell me that, but that's what I heard.
I think we just got that credit card bill paid off from 2 years ago.
That was amazing. Our next level seller is Christy from C. Martin Shop. She is a seller on Whatnot with 6.4 thousand sales and 7.1 thousand followers. She has tons of fun shows and appears to be on a few amazing raid trains. She is on a lot of raid trains. I mean, just super fun. And that's one of the things about it. And that's one of the things that I always and I've had to pull myself back because I was dogging Ken about not doing Whatnot shows anymore. And Tracy told me, she said, you need to pull that back. And the reason why is because I miss his fun shows with Jill. They would make me smile and laugh so much and just have so much fun. And I miss that. But I do understand what all happened with that. But she's another one. She's got some great shows. For our question with that one is people need a place to relax and to recharge their batteries. I think everybody needs this, but for resellers, it's one of those things that is so difficult to do because you're always in the mode of reselling. Where do you go to recharge? What is your happy place?
The band feel. That's sort of that.
No. But yes, but I want to say something about C. Martin though. Is she's kind of the example of what I'm talking about. To me, anyway, she comes across as absolutely authentic. Like I feel like the things that she says and does in her shows would be the things she says and does if you guys were at lunch. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're at lunch. So she's an example of what I mean.
She has the same sense of humor as me, which is why I love her. Awesome. She has that very like dark, just I love her.
I think recharging comes, and I talk to my clients a lot about this, is everybody needs something that they can do where their brain can rest or where their brain can go away, right? So maybe for Tracy, I hear you say that you like to read, right? So maybe your brain can rest when you're reading because you get to get into that, and get involved in that, right? For me, it's repurposing things. And that's the only place I can read and still do 100 things in my head. I can't watch a movie. I could watch a movie, be on the phone and typing client notes with no problem because ADHD allows us to do 87 things at one time, right? The only thing that ever calms that down is I can look at something and go, how can I make that something else? And so like even with this shirt, I know it's silly, but like I cut the sleeve because this one, it's kind of a joke. Every time we go to a different show, I have a different shirt. And this one was for a biker rally that they did a whole big biker weekend thing. Right. And then this was a shirt I made for that. So mine is repurposing, but it can be just getting quiet. I mean, some people like to meditate. My brain doesn't necessarily let me do that a lot. So, but it can be meditation. It can be, spending time with family or spending time alone or exercising. Again, I'm going to say my dad ran those 6 miles every day. He did it because I said to him one time, why do you do that? And he said, it's catharsis for me.
Yeah.
And so it's finding that's what let my dad's brain rest. Right. So it's finding that. And sometimes you have to try different things to figure out what that is. It might be gaming. It might be just listening to music or writing or something. So it's just finding that, but we have to do that. We can't, our stress levels in this country are way too high. And so, just because we've been trained to, productivity is what we applaud, right? When rest is what we really should applaud. And I'm guilty. So don't hear me say I'm not, but rest is what we should applaud sometimes. But sometimes it's somebody like, hey, my mom is kind of like this. She's probably going to see this now, but maybe we won't tell her, but not say it. And then I wouldn't have to worry about it. But sometimes when I call her and I know that she's been like sleeping or something, I'll go, what are you doing? Oh, I was just lying here. I wasn't sleeping. I know you're sleeping. It's okay to sleep. You know what I mean? But we've been trained that that's not okay. So brain resting is one of the hardest things people like can find. I don't know what I can do. Well, you got to find it. You got to keep trying things. So
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, and being a reseller, I think it's extra important because we're like everything we look at, can I resell it? Should I get it? Whatever it may be. Any store that you go into, you're looking for red tags, yellow tags, clearance tags, whatever it may be. And it seems like you're always a reseller and you never take that time to say, maybe I should go to an amusement park. Apex Jeff, he goes to amusement parks and rides those things all the time, which is just, it's great. I love that. And other people collect things. For me, it's comic books. I don't read them. I just collect them. And I love to, yeah, exactly. And so it's fun, but you have to have that one place to say, you know what, I'm going to sit back in the chair and put on some headphones, put on Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, and just go into my own world.
I'd say the one time we actually turn it off, and sometimes we're guilty of unfortunately hitting yard sales while we do it, but it's when we drive out in the middle of nowhere and we look at cows and we eat an ice cream and we just enjoy what we see around us. But I think you and I probably find our happy place in the middle of the country somewhere.
I hate highways.
Yep.
I don't like driving highways, but I'm doing it for another reason though, is because I love to see things. I love seeing so many different things. And it's one of the weird parts about me is we'll drive by somebody's house that's out in the middle of nowhere and they got, you know, like 2 cars out in the thing, and there's a playground set out in the back, and there's this big farm tractor, and you just sit there and you think,
we talked about,
I wonder when the last time he was on that farm tractor was, and he drove down the thing. When was the last time they were playing on those swings? When did they buy it? I wonder
where did they go to the grocery store at?
Exactly. You know? And it's just one of those things it's fun and relaxation for us. The destination is the spot where we're going to be working. You know, okay, we got to go work. We got to go hit the sales. We got to go do those things, you know, or in my case, fall in a hotel when we're in Ohio and bust my knee almost completely up. But, you know,
but you know,
that may or may not have happened.
Right. Exactly. You guys are blessed too, because you just both really just said, hey, our rejuvenation time is together. That's absolutely a blessing.
It really is, because I don't know a lot of people. I know that for both of us, this is our second marriage. I was married before to, I guess you would call almost my high school sweetheart, but it wasn't because we didn't go to the same school. But it was our first love, first real relationship. We got married and everything went well. I joined the Navy right afterwards, but we didn't spend every minute of every day together. We didn't even spend probably half the day together because she had a job and I had a job and we had different interests. Tracy and I spend, I would venture to say, 90% of a 24-hour day in the same room.
Right.
And doing the same things. Maybe a little bit less, probably about 70% now, because you go into your room and read and I'll be doing my comic book. But we don't fight as much. We enjoy that. And that's when I knew, when we got together, that this is what my first relationship, or our first relationship, should have been. For both of us, it was that love that we have.
That's the thing, is I'm very much an introvert and I need alone time. Period. End of statement. I need to be alone most of the time. Even my family, I don't need him. But he's the one person I've ever met that I can stand to spend that time around, and he does not hit that one spot in my brain that drives me crazy. And you would think, oh, he's this big crazy personality. And he is.
I am.
But he's not. He doesn't drive me crazy the way every other person on God's green earth does.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I do understand that. Yes.
But anyway, our established seller is Mr. Buys a Lot, also known as Mr. Buys a Lot. He is a seller on Whatnot with 41.6 thousand sales and 22.1 thousand followers. He has, with that many sales, he should change his name to Mr. Sells a Lot.
That's right. Hey, listen, Mr. Buys a Lot, you better change that name to Mr. Sells a Lot and give Jack Treasure the credit for it.
He sells antiques and collectibles, but he sells pretty much anything, and he has amazing shows.
Yeah.
Do you think Whatnot still cares about the small seller, or has it become a platform built for the biggest creators?
Is there a right and wrong answer to this one?
Not at all.
Not at all.
I feel like they may, I want to say pander to, but I'll say pander to the bigger seller.
I agree.
Okay. And which is unfortunate, because I think it would be the smaller seller that would, now they're going to make, I'm sure they're looking at it from a business perspective of, hey, there's this big seller, he's going to make us more money, these smaller sellers, but you're not really building okay. Anything can happen if you have a big seller, something could happen. They could get disenchanted and go, screw it, I'm not doing Whatnot anymore, or something could happen.
I think Cool Kicks got arrested again or something. I heard. I don't know.
Who did?
Cool Kicks. I think something else happened to them again. I heard.
And we don't even want to talk about Nicole State getting kicked off because she ripped off Whatnot for $100,000.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I think if they put their eggs in those baskets, I think that I think that's silly. So I've watched even like I've been in since probably January, I've spent a majority of my whatnot time in the crystal and rock community. And there's a lot of phenomenal people in there. I mean, it's so peaceful and nice in there. And there's not snipey, and there's not, I mean, I don't even talk about like bid snipey. There's not snipey humans.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And then I see like, well, let me just, hold on. I'm just going to give you an example because I can't do too much because I'm only sitting next to my fire quartz. But just say, for example, so you're going to have somebody who's a smaller seller, and they're going to go, okay, I have this fire quartz free form, and how fire quartz is formed is there's, it's clear quartz. And then there's, the minerals that are in the area are going to give it its coloring because it can look different each time. Fire quartz is just very interesting, and they'll explain it to you because they know what they're talking about. Right.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, so there's 5, 6, 12 people in the room, and they're still putting that much energy into it. And I'm learning a ton from these people. Right. And then I happened across somebody who's a great big seller who had no clue what they had. And they were just like, here's this red rock. And people were like, did. And they're selling it for like so much money. They don't even know what they have in their hand.
Right.
But it's because they're a big seller. Then people are like, oh, I'm going to buy from this big seller. They don't have a clue. They'll say, here's this red rock. And then here's this red rock. But they don't know what it is. Or yeah. And so, okay, so you can go, well, they're making a lot of money because they've built their business this way. Okay. But so they're being focused on more than somebody who really knows what they're doing and has spent time learning and knows what they're talking about. That's I don't like that. So that's all I'm going to say.
Well, one of the things that I've said, and I can't definitively prove it, but I have said Whatnot makes the majority of their money on a yearly basis off of small sellers.
That would make sense.
Okay. Because there's 1 million small sellers.
Mm-hmm.
There's like maybe 1,000 big sellers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that 1 million small sellers makes them more money. But, and this is where I always say that this is where their focus is on those larger sellers, because if they lose one large seller, they have to replace that one large seller with a group of only about 100. And that's about it. That could be the large seller, a volume seller. Well, the small seller, they got 100 million of them that are ready to replace the 100 million that they have.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. If I sat there and I said, hey, Whatnot, you better do this or I'm going to quit. Whatnot's going to say, see you later.
Okay. Bye.
Because we got another Jack's Treasures that's going to come popping right on in and do the same thing that you're doing. Mm-hmm. Okay. But they don't have another, for instance, Joe Hollywood, who's got, hundreds of thousands of followers, and he's got 1,000 people in his shows.
Shout out to Joe Hollywood.
And I'm not saying anything bad about him, because we've met him. He's a very, very nice guy, and he's doing things very, very good. But to replace him, if he said, hey, Whatnot, do this, or I'm out of here, Whatnot's going to look at that a little bit different, and they're going to be, he might not make as much money as all of the others combined, but he makes a ton of money per show that Whatnot can look at. And they might make $100 on my show. They might make, 100,000 on his show.
Right.
So in order to replace him, that would be really, really hard. So, okay, yeah, we'll do what that says, Joe. But it's all in a business thing. But I think you can't ignore the smaller sellers. It's just not doing that. I mean, if you look at the United States economy, and I told Jill, then we don't talk about politics, but here we go talking about politics. But if you looked at the economy of the United States, the basic economy of the United States is not based off of Walmart and based off of Amazon. It's based off of the billion small businesses in the United States, but they don't have the voice that those large ones do. Right. So it's the same way. So, all right. Off of my soapbox. Okay, guys, it's time to enter the confessional. Yes, we have the confessional wheel where we get to ask our people, don't even start doing all of this nonsense right here. I'm trying to end it.
Okay, you don't click that. You need to just close the whole window. The whole tab.
I'm going to have to add the other thing back onto it then. Okay, we're going to have to do the confessional in a little bit of a segment here. Let me go ahead and open this up again. All right. I'm sorry about that, guys. I had it opened up for a little bit too long. and
It had a pop-up.
it had pop-ups on there that weren't very good for my computer. And Tracy always tells me that I mess stuff up when I do
Just
that
don't
one right there.
click things.
Which one would you like, baby?
Let's go with Mary's wheel.
Well, oh, okay. All right. We're going to go.
I don't know.
You didn't want to go with the spicy wheels for Jill, but let me pull this one up. Okay, let me get over to here. And Jill, you get to choose how many questions you want to answer. Our only rule is that you have to answer them honestly. They are randomized questions. You could choose between 1 and 5. Okay, and you don't know what the questions are. And so, how many would you like to answer?
Boy, I don't know that. I guess I don't know. Wouldn't that be something you guys would pick?
No, you get to pick. Do you want to answer 1 question, 2 questions, 3 questions, 4 questions, or 5 questions?
I can tell you there has been one number that has never been picked.
Yeah.
Is it 5?
Oh no, it's picked all the time.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Well,
Some people actually like sitting around talking to us.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yeah. Right.
Most of them are like, can I answer none because I want this thing to be over?
Well, and that's what I would say to you. I don't know how long you have, slated out for this. So that would be how I
have hours slated off. I'm fine.
Okay.
I think we're going to show at 6.
Yeah.
Let's go 5.
There you go. You got 5. All right. Let me bring this up.
Was it one that has never been picked?
No, it's actually been 2.
Oh, because I was going to originally I was picking between 5 and 3. So
3 and 5 are the most commonly picked numbers.
All right, there's our wheel up there, guys. Y'all know the wheel because I'm really lazy and I never change the wheel. I'm still using the same one. But here we go. Question, Tracy's going to ask you 3. I'm going to ask you 2.
yes.
Totally appropriate.
She didn't even let us get it all the way.
Sorry.
I imagine.
What?
So what was it that you laughed at that's totally inappropriate?
If you're able to,
if you're able to share.
Okay. Well, I got a million of them, but I'll tell you one. Okay. So my great aunt would be my dad's aunt, went to this tiny little church in her town, Lansing United Methodist Church. And I swear to you, as adults, and I'm an adult, and I think my dad and my Uncle Rick's kindergarten teacher was in the choir. So, she's like 412 years old, right? And that's how old the entire choir was. And it would take them so long to come out from the back on Easter Sunday to get to get into the choir loft. And there were like walkers and like canes, and I'm not laughing at that, but the fact that a single one it took forever, and then you'd get the giggles, and it always sat like it was dad and then me and then mom, and I don't know why we did that because that was dangerous, but it would take them forever, so you'd already be a little bit tickled about it, and then they would start singing, and my mom would be so mad at us because we would be like just shaking in our pew, right? And at one time I had to get up and leave because oh gosh, you can only hear Up from the Grave He Arose. And then like not a single one of them was in tune. And again, they're so old. Nobody's even this word at the same time. It was the best. But you can't.
Well, we'll take ARP off of our list of sponsors.
Gosh. It was terrible. And we still make jokes about that. My cousins and I, because they were younger, I have twin cousins who are a little younger than me. And we'd all sit in this row and both twins would be leaned forward watching dad and me because they knew we were going to do that. Every time was terrible. But anyway, so yeah.
I love that story. That is great. All right. Next one right here. And then, by the way, if you do get to a question that you can't answer, you can invoke the Shane rule, which is
basically a pass. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever shipped the wrong item to someone?
Well, I don't ship. So, I ship on Vinted, but I've only been doing it a couple of weeks. So far, so good. So no.
Good.
That's good. That's excellent. Yeah, we'll cross our fingers that you never do that because I've done that a million times and it's not fun
you shouldn't be admitting that.
Well, that's because I suck as a reseller. That's why I'm trying to do this YouTube stuff to make some money. Okay. And I'm not doing that well for this one either. So much so that I have to think of another podcast to add.
What's the most embarrassing nickname you've ever had?
Where'd you guys go?
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that everybody heard your answer.
I thought like, oh no, I'm not gonna. Okay, anyway, I don't know that it was embarrassing. Well, okay, now everybody's gonna know this. No, but I guess it doesn't matter. But when I was little, I couldn't pronounce my own name, so I would call myself Dill, right? So my dad started calling me Dill Pickle, and then it shortened to Pickles, and I was Pickles forever, and then it shortened to Pix. And so, but when you're now, I'm like, man, I wish you were here to call me that nickname, right? And I'm okay with it. But when you're younger, you don't want anybody to know your name is Pickles for any reason, because that's weird. But and I haven't had a lot of nicknames, not to my face anyway. I'm 100% sure I've got some out there, but that aren't pleasant. But people will, most of the time, they'll call me like Jilly Bean. I get that a lot.
Right.
Yeah, but that's the only nickname that I've ever. Well, I don't know what Ken calls me behind my back, so I don't know that. But anyway, but yeah, that would be it.
Well, behind your back is your front.
That's true. That's true. But I got over it so much because I have a vintage VW Bug, and it actually, my license plate was Pix Bug. So yeah, but I put a PIXBUG so it would fit on there. But yeah, I did that in honor of my dad. So.
That is awesome. I love that. I wish I could have known your dad. He sounds like an amazing person, and you talk about him so well.
Which is why my name is Kcerka, because that is Serbian for daughter, and my lineage on my dad's side is Serbian. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, and I knew that one. I did know that one.
Oh,
there you go.
Absolutely. I do all sorts of
stuff.
Yep, you're supposed to read that.
Have you ever waved at someone who wasn't waving at you?
Oh, absolutely. I've talked to people who I thought were like looking at me and started conversations. And it wasn't. But I don't get embarrassed by that stuff because I think it's funny. So, yeah.
I do the same thing. I have done the same thing. I did it the other day.
We did it just the other day.
Yep. Just the other day, I literally did that. I said, "Who was it that I thought it was?" Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I do remember that happening just the other day.
Oh, we were at McKay's, and
you thought it was Alex
Beard King Picker. Okay, I don't know if you've met Alex Beard King Picker, but he lives in Nashville, and we were up in Nashville, and I ran into Alex at the McKay's, and long story long, we didn't call him and let him know that we were coming up there because somebody wouldn't let me do that. And so I was like, what if we run into him at McKay's? Oh, we're not going to do that. Sure enough, who runs into him at McKay's? Me. Okay. Not her, me. Okay. So now I have to try to explain to Alex, saying, no, Alex, we really love you and everything like that, dude. I apologize, but we just knew this was a short trip and we had our daughter with us, and we did. And when he had his daughter with him and his wife was with him, and he's got this red truck with a camper top, and I was parked down in the back. And so I walked out to the truck to go get Tracy, and we were leaving, and I was like, yeah, Alex's truck is right there. There's his family. So I pulled up next to the family, and I say, so how's your dad doing and everything like that? And it wasn't Alex's mom or it wasn't his wife and daughter. It was like this really old lady and her daughter. And I mean, this lady was like 90 years old and stuff like that. And I'm like, holy shit, I was so wrong. You could not be more wrong.
And this lady just looks at him like,
everything's great, and I'm like, I have no idea who that is. And I didn't even realize it until we were driving away. And Tracy said, that was not Alex's wife.
Yeah, it's like, I've met his wife before.
Yeah, that is not Alex's
Oh my gosh.
So that's
lovely. I did
fun.
last summer when the guys were doing that Wetzel Land, that biker thing. They were opening up for Buck Cherry. Okay. And so okay.
So we're talking about the band Feel, just letting you all know. In case anybody's keeping account. That was another reference to the band Feel.
Yeah, keep up there'll be a bunch of them. But my friend Ty, who's in that picture right there, was a musician, and knew a ton of people. And one of the things was he had told me one time, okay, because we volunteered incarceration for that first thing, the tattoo and the metal fest thing at the prison.
That place sounds
Right.
cool as heck.
Yeah.
And so one time I was on the phone with Ty, and he said, "Who's playing now?" And I said, "Buck Cherry." And he goes, "Oh, I still owe that guy $20." Stupid, but I still owe that guy $20. And I'm like, okay. So last year, and I will just say, Ty passed away in 2021. And so last year when we went, and I'm like, oh, Buck Cherry's going to be there. I'm literally going to go pay Ty's debt, right? Because that will just make me super happy to do that. So what I didn't realize was that except for one, there's only one original member of Buck Cherry. So, and they're like, he's in his big old bus, right? The whole day. Then he finally pops out because I had looked online to see what he looks like. And I'm like, oh, I think that's him. So I go up to him and I'm like, hey, he's not the friendliest person either, right? You need to know that, right? Hey,
we'll take Buck Cherry off of our sponsorship list now too.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't, but I'm sure he's probably, don't bother me. But and I said, did you know Ty Crook? And he's like, no. And I'm like, okay. And then that was it. But I had this moment. I had my $20 bill in my hand. I was going to pay Ty's debt. So yeah. So I don't think I felt stupid. I felt sad because I really had this whole moment built up in my head that was going to be able to do that, but I didn't get to. So.
Oh,
right. All right. I think.
Well, Buck Cherry, if you're watching this,
yeah,
no,
yeah. Still don't know Ty Crook.
The band feel you need to be sponsoring.
Yeah, no, but I'm sure that guy's nice, but I'm sure it was hotter than all get out that day, and I'm sure he was like, he just stepped out because the weather was looking a little scary. So I'm sure he just stepped down. He's probably like, I can't even step out of my bus without someone come up and talking to me. But anyway, so he probably doesn't ask him for an autograph or something. I'm like, no, I was going to give you $20, dude. But anyway.
There's like so much wrong with all of that right there. I love it. All right. I think this is question number 5, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Should be 4.
4, so it's mine. Oh, you asked that last one? Okay, this is my question then. Yeah, that's right, because I've only asked the one. All right, here's one for me. Gosh. Have you ever walked into the wrong bathroom?
Intentionally. You go to those places and like whatever it is, and then the women's line is like a bazillion.
Yes,
long. I'm going to the
absolutely.
Guy's bathroom. I have to pee, right? So, yeah, I don't care.
Oh my God!
The smell, though, the smell. I can't deal with the smell in the men's room. It's bad.
Well, we'll just take all males now off of our sponsorship list.
Right.
And we literally just got a urinal after that.
Two
urinals out of the storage unit.
You don't need to pee in the urinal, Tracy. You can go in the stall.
I know, but the whole place
it smells like urinal mint. Or
exactly.
That's
Do you need me for this?
Go ahead.
She goes into the wrong bathroom on purpose.
I don't.
Yeah. If I have to pee, I'm going somewhere. So
I'll go outside before that.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Both of them are criminal offenses, by the way. I'm sure. Okay, here we go. Last question on this one. This is truly the confessional. I can tell you that. All right.
Be honest. Who is the most overrated reseller / YouTuber?
Oh my God. Hold on. I got to do this.
Wow.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Like I can do it, and I really want to do it, but I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And here's why I'm not going to do it. If it just reflected on me, I would do it in a flipping heartbeat. But it reflects on Ken, I won't do that to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
That pretty much told me the answer right there.
I got a list of 4.
Okay, well, after we record, I want to hear this one.
Yeah, you probably can figure it out, so.
I'm pretty sure I know one of them. Definitely, I have one for Whatnot. Obviously, was Nicole State. Duh.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Obviously,
she's
was just so
back.
overrated,
I've been seeing the Vada's red. She's selling. No, not on Whatnot. She's selling a course, a reselling course now.
On YouTube.
Yeah,
Again.
Vad's been talking about her. If you shout out to Vad is rad.
Yeah, shout out to That Is Rad, who we have asked to be a guest on the podcast too, as a matter
She
of
would
fact.
be an interesting guest.
Oh, very, very
we would love to
interesting
get
and
her.
stuff.
We
I
really
would love to have her on that one. But yeah, that's definitely one that I would say is just so, oh my gosh. I mean, and you were talking about it earlier with the rocks and people buying things only because they want that from that one seller. She was definitely one of the ones that was like that.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that was the confessional.
Yeah. Those sellers are
and
not keeping you in their best friend list because you bought a red rock from them, right?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Community in there is to say, hey, this is how a fire quartz is formed. And so those of us that are learning can learn it. That's how you forge relationships, right?
Exactly. All right. So that was definitely Enter the Confessional. And that was a true confessional.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was.
Now it is time for my favorite part of our entire episode. It's where we turn the tables and allow our guests to ask us.
Now, see, I don't even know why we
question.
need to know this. Jill knows everything about us anyway.
Well, maybe she can come up with something completely off the wall.
That's the scary part.
Right.
Or maybe there's something she knows about us that she wants everybody to know about us.
Not that I just put pressure on Jill.
No. Okay. So I would say, I have a couple. So I'm going to just do the,
we have allowed people to ask us one each if they truly have
that's what
to.
I want to do.
You didn't have to mention that.
That somebody else has already asked you.
It's happened before. I mean, it's fine.
We're at 73 episodes, and we expect there to be a lot of guests. So we've had a couple people that have
there's
asked.
Maybe only one other person out there who's actually watched every episode. Thank you, Chris.
Oh.
And Willow.
Yeah.
And now Judith.
Okay. So it might be a twofold question. So I'm trying to figure out if I want, okay, let's do this first. So if you guys looked at each other and said, like, this is the thing I love about you the most, what would it be?
Oh, now see, we've never had that question.
No, not at all.
No, you'd never had a therapist on your, no, just kidding. So,
if I had to look at Tracy and I said what I love about her most.
No, I want you to look at her and tell her.
Oh, Tracy, what I love about you the most is you are the most genuine person I have ever met in my entire life. You give more of yourself than anybody I've ever met, except for maybe Jill, because of just her volunteerism. Mm-hmm. But I absolutely love that about you. And I know for a fact there's nothing you wouldn't do for me.
Yours is the soul of you, your personality and your essence that you give to everybody around you. Mm-hmm. You always want to see everybody smiling. Even when you're not feeling your best, you're trying to give your best. I love that about you.
And you try.
It's a one-fold question. I'm not asking anything else. That was beautiful.
Okay.
So
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, but we've never actually had that.
No.
And I don't think anybody's really asked us a question like that. They've asked us how we met and but I don't think they've ever asked us what the one thing about each other that we truly love. I know for a fact that there is no one on this earth that I could ever share my life with more than Tracy. Mm-hmm. There's nobody better. There's nobody that could even come close to the love that she's given me and has shown me. Except for maybe your love for the band Field. That's pretty.
That's up there.
Yeah, that one's up there. But yeah, definitely it is just, she's an amazing person. She's changed my life completely. And I love the fact now that other people are seeing that because of Whatnot and because of reselling and because of this. Tracy would never do this if I didn't say, hey, let's do this. Let's be on pod. Let's go on here and expose ourselves and let people look at us and go, man, they're assholes or whatever. And that cruelty. I remember the very first time that we got a negative comment on anything, and Tracy was crying almost about it. You remember that?
Yeah.
And now she literally posts stuff because she wants people to hate us. And I'm like, what the hell happened to
Yeah.
you and stuff? But it's just, she's such an amazing person. And I'm glad that I can now share her with
Mhm.
everybody else, because they can all see it now also, because
Yeah.
she's wonderful. She really, really is. Yeah. A big thanks to our amazing guest, Jill, aka Kcerka, for joining us this week, guys. We don't know who the next week is going to, our guest is going to be next week, because literally we're going to start doing some batch recordings
Yep.
to try to get some guests all together, because Jack's Treasures is now going to probably be moving into our warehouse next
Crossing our
month.
fingers. It's
We are also going to be
moving in the
doing the
right
127 show, our sale, very, very soon, which is actually next week. So we're going to be going out of town for that one. But we are also expanding and doing our What Not Again podcast. So if you guys want to see like a deep dive into some of the stuff that we have talked about before,
These
we've
tend to
done
be
2
more
episodes.
educational.
It's more on the educational side, but it's Jack's Treasures educational. So we try to still have fun with that. Our guest last week was Willow, who was absolutely amazing as a second guest to talk about stuff. So we're going to be starting to hit some more recordings for that.
Our final question, which is the same for everyone. What is coming up next for Kcerka?
Mm-hmm.
Probably gonna have Banfield in it somewhere, just so we're real clear.
That's fine.
Yeah, we know
We
those
expect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, August. Well, I go to work every week. There's that. And then hopefully sell lots more crap out of my house on Vinted. And what else is there? Well, we have the Route 30 sales coming up, so I'm sure we'll hit some of those. The Lincoln Highway sales,
Okay.
in our area, and then in September, even though we don't do the race anymore, that kind of turned into this huge family weekend, and we still have that, the cousins weekend. And so that's coming up in September. And that's always like an amazing thing. And then November, as you said, the Banfield will be opening for Cheap Trick for like 8 shows in November, I think. And 2 of the shows happen to be in Ohio.
That's awesome.
With a day off in between. So hopefully they're going to show up at the cabin and hang out. So, and I know they'll be doing a lot of sleeping and resting and stuff. And that's good, because that's, I would love to talk to them 24/7 when they're there. They also understand they need time apart from one another, because they've been traveling in a van together, and they, all that. And so everybody has their own bedroom. Because the cabin, everybody's got their own bedroom and bathroom.
She's talking about her mom's cabin up in Ohio, guys. And I'm going to tell you something. We have been to this cabin. Thank you, by the way, for allowing us to come
and the best tour guide ever. By the way.
The best tour guide ever. And but it is an amazing place. And your mom allows a lot of people to come in and stay, and it's beautiful. The view is absolutely beautiful, and you want to talk about relaxation, that place can definitely do it.
And that is true, which we were afforded the opportunity to, like, my mom designed every piece of it, right? And the guys who built it were the ones who bought her dad's contracting business. And so and when she designed it, I'm like, why do we have 5 bedrooms and 6.5 bathrooms? And I'm an only child and I don't have a family, but it is offered opportunities that are, they're just amazing. So yeah. It is very peaceful. It's got a weird piece to it. Like, it is, you just calm down when you're there. So it's not weird. I'm just saying it's kind of like it's an overarching piece there. So yeah, it's very good. But when the band comes in, everybody now knows which room is theirs, right? And we've renamed them. Caden's room, Garrett's room, TJ's room, and then Tyler and Zach's room. I call them the twins because they're not one tiny bit alike, right? So I call it the twins room. And so they come in and they go to their rooms, and they come out for food and whatever and hang out. But I'm glad that we can offer that time for them, and we're not like, oh my God, like I don't invite a bunch of friends over and go, oh, the boys are here, and then like they have to stay up and talk to people. I just want them to do what they need to do and be peaceful and have a rest, because that can be a daunting schedule. So yeah, so
Absolutely.
that I
If
have.
I'm not mistaken, too, I saw somewhere that they're getting ready to release their first album.
Well, they've released an album before of the songs that they have. This is one like that's August. It'll be the end of August. Well, that will come out, and that's all new stuff. And so the stuff that they've released before, the songs that you would have heard if you would have, gone to see them throughout the time, like, the Goodbye Virginia and those kinds of songs. But so this is going to be a pretty epic thing. So, and I've heard, they're releasing the songs a little by little. And every one of them, it's a big move away from like what they've been doing. And every time one plays, I'm like, oh, that's my new favorite. And then the next one comes and I'm like, oh, no, that's my new favorite. Right. So, yeah. But again, I think it helps because if any of those guys, like I met them before I heard them. Right. So it isn't like I was like, oh, my God, the band field, can't wait to meet them. It was. I'm going to tell you this as fast as possible because I know we've been on here a long time, but their tour manager, who is also their sound guy, 10 years ago, this October, he and his cousin, his name is Zach. I love Zach. Zach's amazing. But Zach and his cousin Connor rode their bicycles from Washington State to New York State. And they went all through the United States of America to meet with people who had been affected by mesothelioma. So it could be people who were, actively sick or who had lost somebody. And they went to Libby, Montana, where a lot of it had been mined and a lot of the people in that town had died. And so they did a documentary and, so they stayed a few days with us. And so now that was 2016. And then fast forward to 2024 and Zach is like, hey, can I call you? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, hey, remember when you said that we could come back anytime we wanted to? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, can I do that on this date? Which was like a week from when he called me. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And he's like, can I bring 5 of my closest friends? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Right. And so then I have to call my mom and tell her, hey, mom. Right.
My mom would kill me.
I called my mom and I went, hi, mommy. And she's like, what did you get me into? And I'm like, well, Zach called because I know what, and she's like, our Zach. And I'm like, yeah. So it would be whatever he wanted. I intentionally did not listen to their music because I wanted to meet them before I heard them because, and so I met them and then but I had read about them. So when I met them, I'm like, hey, you're Tyler, you're Tyler, you're no, not Caden. You're Tyler, you're TJ, you're Garrett, you're not Roger because their former bass player was Roger. But Caden was new to them. And Tyler's like, are you stalking us? And I'm like, no. And he's like, I think you're stalking us. And I'm like, dude, no. But if you're going to spend the night with my mom in that house, I'm going to know who you are. Right. So I'm going to read about you. And then I didn't, we met them. They spent the night. We got to know them. And then it was 2 weeks later, Ken and I went to hear them for the first time. And I'm like, thank God they don't suck because I love them. It would be bad if I was like, oh gosh, I really have to withstand this. But nah, Tyler's a phenomenal guitar player. Cade's great on bass and he's just the kindest soul. TJ's a phenomenal drummer. And Garrett is I'll just say it. Garrett is probably the closest personality wise and able to he's a very wise person. And so he's a lot like my dad when it comes to just the conversations we can have. And so you'll never hear me. And they've had a couple guitar techs in there that I'm friends with. And Pete's great. And Miko was great. And so I got nothing but love for all those guys. Like Tyler and I were talking one day and he's like something. And I said, dude, I will never tell you guys no. You could call me up and go, hey, Jill, could you have this yes, I will do what I can to make sure you guys get what you need. Because I believe in them as human beings before if they quit, if they all said, we're not going to be a band anymore, I would still love all those guys. So they're just phenomenal humans and the music doesn't suck. So
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they have opened up for some pretty big people. We had talked about that, and like they're opening up for Cheap Trick,
Yeah.
which
And
is
they
just
just
absolutely
did-
phenomenal.
Last weekend was Blues Travelers, and then we saw them open for the
nice.
Black Crows. They did that a few shows. They opened for ZZ Top,
Mhm.
and Chris Daughtry, and then they did 2 cruises this year too. Like they did the Creed cruise.
Oh, I heard the lineup for that. That was awesome.
Yeah. So we're not talking about a little band here that's playing
9
out of
more.
a garage, you
Yeah,
know.
no,
So,
no, we're not.
and
You know, they're
that's
just-
great. We love that success.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we were up in Ohio last year to do the Sylvan Citywide sale, and we went to one of the garages at garage sales, and it was me and Jill. And I asked the guy, I said, "Hey, so do you know the band Feel?" And he says, "Yes." And then he said, "I remember you from last year." And I was like, "I don't think you do, but okay," because I wasn't there
Yeah.
last year. That's
Right.
the first and only time I've been in Ohio
Yeah,
and
right.
stuff. And he
You go all the
said that.
time, though.
Oh, I said that then in a podcast.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, we're always in Ohio. You see that? We're always in
No,
Ohio.
that's because I just love being up there with Jill and Ken and stuff. That was just so
And then
much
we got to
fun.
hang out with Roman and my cousin Dan and
I
eat
Yep.
know,
turkey
that was
chicken.
such a good trip.
Yeah, it was such a great
Yeah.
trip and stuff. Unfortunately, we didn't make it this year, but we're going to try to make it
Gonna
again
try
next
next
year
year.
for sure and stuff.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video. Help us out with Stop Soldier Suicide, Georgia Homeless Pets, and the Naughty Cat Cafe. Links are all down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And don't forget about the Whatnot Challenge. We want to hear about that weirdest thing that your seller partner that brought home to sell, and you said, and they said, "Trust me, it'll sell." Okay. Peace out, guys, from Jack's Treasures and Jill Kcerka.
Bye.
Bye-bye.